Hello dear viewer, welcome. This is Excel Science Tuition and today we're going to study the chapter of force. So welcome, but just before we begin, I'd like to tell you something, that you should not accept the negative forces to pull you from behind, but always move with the positive forces so that you may excel in this life. So in the first topic we're going to define what is force. Force is a push or a pull. The SI unit of force is Newton and it is denoted by capital letter N. A force is an influence on a system or object which acting alone will cause the motion of the object or the system to change. If a system or object is at rest is subjected to an non-zero force, it will start to move. So for the system to move, it will have to overcome the force of friction that has been holding it, which we call static friction. So if we subject an object that is at rest with a force, with a non-zero force, when you say a non-zero force, we mean that the force is not zero, it can be 1, 2, 3 or 4 Newton, then the object will start to move. What are the effects of force on an object? First, a force may slow down or stop a moving object. Why? If a force, we have defined a force as a pull or a push. If an object is moving forward and it experiences a pull from behind, then that object will slow down or will stop. And if, for example, it is a car and then you apply the brakes, then you're going to increase the friction, and by increasing the friction, the vehicle will be able to slow down or to stop. And remember, friction is a force. We learned that friction is a type of a force. Next, a force may make a stationary object to start moving or increase the speed of a moving object. A stationary object is an object that is at rest, an object that is not moving, and it may start moving when we push it using a non-zero force, as we have mentioned earlier. Also, if the object was moving using a small force, we may increase its speed, and increasing the speed is what we call increasing the velocity, and that is accelerating, and the object will be able to move faster than it was in the initial state. Also, a force can change the direction of a moving object. For example, if a vehicle was coming from north, then it experiences a force that is coming from west, then the direction of the car or the body that is coming will be able to shift depending on the amount of the force that has been applied on it. Also, a force can distort or change the shape of an object. For example, when a car crashes, that is a force because it has collided with another vehicle or another substance, then it has distorted its shape, it changes, and that is why you see that it can change to an irregular shape. We are now going to learn the types of forces, and the first type of force is what we call weight. Weight is a force caused on Earth by the gravitational attraction of a mass to the Earth's surface. The weight of a body of mass m is defined to be the force W with which it is attracted to the Earth. So, weight is a force of attraction. Let's assume we have this body. Let's assume we have that body. Then there will be a force that will be acting downwards due to the attraction by, this one is the Earth's surface, and that is what we call weight. It is a force of attraction from the center of the body to the Earth's center. Now, if we are told to calculate what is the weight of a substance, we will use the formula. We'll use the formula that weight is equal to mg, where m is the mass of the substance in kg and g is the Earth's gravitational pull, which is 9.81. And if you're told to calculate the weight of a mass weighing 10 kg, then you're going to say that weight is equal to that mass, which is 10 kg, times 10 times 10, which is g. G is 9.81, but when rounded off it is 10, and that will get that the weight of the substance is 100 Newton. Newton, remember we said that the SI unit of force is Newton. Then next we're going to learn about tension. What is tension? Tension is the quantity of the pulling force exerted by a string, a spring, or a cable on an object. So that is what we call tension. It is the quantity of the pulling force that is exerted on a string, spring, or a cable. Depending on the nature of the material making the string, some may endure greater tension than others. For example, a rope made of manila, and let's say its circumference is small, it can endure less force than a string made of steel that has a thicker circumference. The force that the string or similar objects such as the spring or cable exerts on an object in this type of problems is called tension. So that the force that is exerted on a string is what we call tension. Many mechanics problems involve objects being pulled, pushed, or suspended from a spring, string, or rod or something similar. For example, in a pulley system, a pulley looks like this. This is what we call a pulley. A pulley is made up of a string. We have what we call the pivot, and then this is where the pivot is suspended from. So if we apply a force at this position, then this rope, if we apply a force at this position, then this rope will be pulled by this force that we have exerted here, and that is what we call tension. Friction. Friction is the force that opposes relative motion between two surfaces in contact. When we say friction, for example, when we are walking, when we are braking, when we are writing, we apply friction. Friction force opposes motion. If a car is moving at a certain speed and apply friction, then that car will be able to decelerate or slow down. Friction is caused by interlocking of the surfaces and attractive force between the surface molecules. So that is what we call friction. Friction is caused by interlocking of surfaces. If a car is moving in front, then it is braked, the surface of the tire will interlock with the surface of the road. In daily lives, we apply friction. For example, we cannot walk without friction, we cannot brake without friction, we cannot write without friction. So if friction was not there, we will not be able to do most of the things that we do in our daily lives. Friction can be reduced by use of rollers and lubricating. For For example, in engines, in car engines or motor vehicle engines, we use lubricants such as grease to reduce the friction, which can cause wear and tear. So friction is a good force that aids us in braking and working, but also it is a bad force that can cause wear and tear and therefore increase the surface of maintenance of the car. So friction has advantages and disadvantages. We're going to learn the next type of force, which is upthrust. Upthrust is a force that acts upwards on an object immersed in a fluid. This concept of upthrust was discovered by a man that is called Archimedes when he entered in a basin that had water and realized that there is a force that is pushing him upwards. Have you ever entered into a basin full of water or any container with water and you feel that there is a force that is pushing you upwards? Then that force is what you call upthrust force. An object cannot experience upthrust force in a vacuum. Upthrust force is always experienced where there is air and where there is a fluid. So it is also a fluid is either air or a liquid. So we cannot experience upthrust force minus the fluid, that is the liquid or the gas. The next type of force is what you call cohesive and adhesive force. Cohesive force is a force of attraction between molecules of the same kind, while adhesive force is the force of attraction between molecules of different kinds. For example, water molecule with another water molecule, that is what we call cohesive force. When they get to be attracted, that is what we call cohesive force. But when water molecules get attracted to glass molecules, or glass molecules get attracted to dust particles, then that is what we call adhesive force. That is what we call adhesive force. You may have observed that when water is placed in a straw, when water is placed inside a straw, it forms a meniscus that is going downwards. But when as a liquid such as mercury is placed in the same straw, it will have a meniscus that is moving upward. That is one of the applications of adhesive and cohesive force. So the molecules of mercury have more cohesive force than the molecules of water. We have another type of force that we call normal reaction force. The normal reaction force acts perpendicularly to the surface, causing it. If a mass lies on a horizontal surface, the weight of the mass pulls it downwards. But the normal reaction force will act opposite to the weight. So the reason is that it does not fall. The reason why the substance does not fall is because the horizontal surface exerts an equal and opposite force on the mass, and that type of force is what we call the normal reaction force. So if you are sitting on a chair, then the chair exerts an equal and opposite force on your body, and that is why you are not falling. If you sit on a chair that is maybe weak or has a line of weakness, and then you fall down, that is because the normal reaction force is less compared to the gravitation force which has pulled you and has made you to fall on the ground. So normal reaction force is very important because it is the one that helps surfaces to remain without falling. Next, we have other types of forces such as the magnetic force. This is the force that causes attraction or repulsion by a magnet. A magnet has a north pole and a south pole. And inside the magnet, we have what we call dipoles, domains. We'll learn that in other topics. So, Like poles repel while unlike poles attract. That is because of magnetic force. If you take substances that are attracted by the magnet, which are called magnetic substances, if you take them close to a magnet, they'll become attracted because they will be pulled by the magnet. If you take a north pole and a south pole and you put them close to each other, the north pole will attract the south pole. And that force of attraction, because you have defined force as a push or a pull, that force that is pulling it is what we call magnetic force. We have also another common type of force that we call electrostatic force. Electrostatic force is that force, for example, if you take a plastic ruler or a pencil and you rub it on a dry air, it will pick small pieces of paper brought near them. That force of attraction or repulsion due to charges is what you call electrostatic force. When you rub a ruler on your head, you have charged the ruler, and that is why it is able to attract a neutral substance such as a paper. That is what you call electrostatic force. Now, we have come to the end of our lesson, and I'd like to give you an assignment. For today, I'd like you to define what is a force, as you have learned it. What is a force? You can leave your answers in the comment section. Also, I'd like to give me what is the SI unit of force. Define cohesive and adhesive force. The third assignment is explain why a man in a parachute falls through air slowly while a stone falls through air very fast. I'd like you to think about that and also write it in the reply section available. We have come to the end of the lesson, and I'd like to thank you for we have come together, and let's meet in the next lesson. I wish you all the best and I wish you understanding. Thank you.